This goes back to something I mentioned before. I think Yumpy's Jet on Ascent is maybe my favorite map to watch him on completely. Like, he is not only a maniac on the attacking side, but when it comes to the defense, I would say he's hands down one of the best operator players we have in Europe. Like, I think he can become unstoppable if he gets rolling. Saw it on the last map. They're giving him the chance to do it again. And yeah, I would be a little bit worried if I'm Giants, because it's going to be tough to beat.
Well, after a pretty terrible first map, Giants are now here on Ascent. We saw David P over on Twitter saying it's time to wake up because they were asleep on Icebox. And let's hope that that's the case, because we want a competitive grand final here. Vodafone Giants, their second ever map loss, just taken in the previous. But, Tom, that's the only map they have been losing is Icebox. Yeah. They're flawless on everything else.
Yeah, I think that this is much more of a comfort pick for them. If this is more of a walk in the park for Liquid, then you're looking at the strengths of Liquid and not that this is just like a weak map or any excuses that we can give to Giants anymore. Like, this is one they're more than happy to play. Now, for now, they've taken a lot of space, but it seems like this is something that's being granted by Liquid. Now, they've switched up every single agent. Every single player is on something different to what we saw previously. It made things very difficult for the desk to try and predict, because this was pretty much as unpredictable as it gets. What's interesting, though, is because they've got nobody playing further back, they're actually going to split through the spawn and try and come up behind the screen. A mid-round call that I have to say I like a lot.
Now, this is a very different strategy to what we see from pretty much any other teams, and it's working. They've already overrun the A site. Wine is not clear. Yampy hiding in the back lines, but it's being checked as we speak, and Meadow even wins that duel. A two-man advantage for Vodafone Giants, and Team Liquid having a tough time getting back in here to retake. They have a Paranoia still online for Link, who's just been spotted over on short, and so isn't able to help his teammates out in time. This is pretty tough, Tom. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised unless there's some slip-ups coming through. Nice shot from Link, though, but well, he takes a bullet back in return. Couple of low players, maybe a chance for him to edge towards the greatest ult, which is, of course, the From the Shadows. But realistically, yeah, not going to be getting too much out of this one, and I would be surprised if he doesn't just die to the spike.
Yeah, he's going to dive into that, of course. You don't get quite as much money if you go survive. And now for Vodafone Giants, that one round on the board is a good start to the map. They need this after finding so very few in the previous map. You now feel that little bit more comfortable, as they should be facing off against an Eco from Team Liquid. Not having a bunch of credits to come into this one. But yeah, very strange pistol strategy. Not one that we ever see coming out of teams. To run through middle, wall off the B side of spawn, and then with the smoke up, rush heaven. I love it. I love seeing those sort of little innovations that you will often get from teams like this, where you have 5 players from originally all different teams coming together. And wow, that's one way to start it.
See you later. Yeah, I would be very surprised
only
if
pistols
that was if that was the call from the get-go in the pistol round. I would be shocked. I think that was just something that they did on the fly because they managed to get so much control. Because if you're predicting that you can get their spawn for free, I think you're a nutcase.
Oh, there was some potential in that for Yampy. Scream's going out wide. Oh my god, he's got a kill as well. This is getting scary. It should be an eco for Liquid. It is, but they're still doing damage, taking heads. And they've got the advantage, Tom. A man advantage as they go in for what is not even a retake. The spike hasn't even been planted yet. And Vodafone Giants are considering taking this to the B site. It looks like they're no, they're not going to be spotted as they move across. So a plant on B looks pretty likely. But to be honest, Tom, that almost favors these pistols going in for the retakes then. Because every angle they'll go for can potentially be a close range duel.
Well, the other thing as well is if there's any weaponry on the floor, they can pick it up before they leave.
Very true.
They might be able to go in with an extra gun or two, maybe an SMG if there's anything to be found. It seems like both players actually died in towards shore. And there you go. Scream's got a slight upgrade on the weapon he started with. So, yeah, this now becomes a pretty uncomfortable position for Giants in a round that realistically should be winning. They've actually got a Vandal out of this. There was a rifle left behind?
Right here.
Yeah, the one small downside from the time waited is Scream doesn't have the overheal anymore. It has decayed off, but he's going to be taking contact very early on and even winning that duel. Ambi with a huge whiff. It leaves Hoodie to 1v3 this. Giants should have had an easy conversion here, but now it's left into the clutch scenario. Hoodie holding for the walkout on short, and he won't get them all. Somehow Team Liquid have come back into this and tied it up 1-1 without even a full force buy. This is a devastating round for Vodafone Giants. I said they wanted to get off to a good start on this map. Oh, well, they haven't done that.
No, and it's going to be a bit tough for the replay team to choose what to actually go for in this round. Because you can just replay pretty much every single kill. I'm interested to see what they went with. Probably the initial. No, they don't have time for the first kill, Mitch. Like, it doesn't make the cut, even though it was nuts. But yeah, some impressive play. The spacing as well, solid from the guys at Liquid. I will say the in the 3v2, the peak from Scream, that's probably the most uncomfortable I've been in a while, because that was it was just so risky. It's just like I'm gonna dome him, and I that's the thing. When you put him on Arena, that for me is where Scream is almost like peak Scream. He's like, I can kill someone and get out of here without having to worry about it, so I'm just going to take unbelievable risks. And, well, we talk about confidence a lot, but when you literally know that if you hit one headshot, you can escape, what? You can't give that to Scream. That's just not fair. Like, that's an unreasonable thing to have in the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the fact that he even popped the heal when he was up in heaven instead of the dismiss shows how comfortable and confident he was. They are absolutely rolling in this round. They only lose the one weapon, and I think that's an acceptable loss for Team Liquid. Anti-Eco goes a lot better for the defensive side than it did for the attack.
Yeah, it is funny. I tweeted just before, like, I know that we are a little bit ahead and people might think that I saw the agents select, but I was tweeting that I'd like to see Yumpy back on the Jet. And also, I said Scream on the Phoenix. I wasn't quite there. I didn't get the Reyna. But someone said, do I think the Reyna will work? Wait, it's basically... I don't know. I'm not certain if this is Scream's favorite agent. But if I was going to guess, I would go for Reyna. Like, that would be my pick of agents I reckon that he would have the most fun on. So, realistically, I feel like a lot of this composition right now is almost just like... I think that was... I don't really watch Dota, but there was like the film of where the OG guys like won at the end, and they managed to win it by just picking all their favorite characters and going through and just basically wrecking their opponents. I think that's what Liquid are somewhat doing here. They've gone, oh, Yumpy, what do you fancy playing today? Oh, you really like Jet? Who could have guessed? All right, you picked that one up. Scream, what about you? Oh, you cool. Oh, you like playing the Reyna? Sick. Let's do that one. Everyone else, if you could fill in the gaps, that would be fantastic.
I think as well, a day like today is exactly where you can do that.
Yes.
You know, OG doing it at TI was a little different.
Yeah.
A lot more high stakes. I think they were down as well, like they were one map away from losing that whole time, but they had to reverse sweep from, it was 2-0 or 2-1? But anyways.
Oh, how'd he win that?
The thing is, Liquid here, they can allow some of the players who've had ideas, like, I really want to try this. Yeah, try it now. This is the time to do it. If it works, great. You get to test it in an official. That dash into sight, giving a lot of space to Vodafone Giants. They have a player down below, two coming in, and Scream is catching the flank, but losing players as they go. Still the man advantage for Vodafone, plant in, and site secured.
This is still very much winnable. It's a round that I think Vodafone Giants are going to be desperate to take. They're actually going to lock themselves away underneath. Now, this is the Empress pop. That means that he can dismiss, heal as many times as he likes, the heal automatic as well, and they line up for Cryptics! He tries to bait them in. It's into the 1v1 for Fatinho. They've already got it to half, but he'll land the instant headshot. A solid clutch, one desperately needed for Giants, and a round a little bit too close for comfort.
Really, it comes down to Giants not being able to consistently win rounds in a clean fashion. We don't see it from them. Even when they get advantages, they get side control, it always comes down to these clutch situations, and that's where they really need to improve in not giving away opportunities like that, lining up and not being able to take the player down behind. It's little hiccups, and ultimately it's things that will improve over time. That's why I didn't have a lot of faith in this Giants roster immediately, because they need that time to synergize. They played 10 series with this roster. That is not enough to have the protocols down. With that said, they look spectacular for the amount of time that they have had.
Yeah.
Now, look, every single team in Valorant at the moment, with the exception of, you know, one or two, is a newly put together roster, at least relatively. We don't have teams that have been around 6 months with the same roster, or we don't have very many of them. So you have to take it with a little pinch of salt, but at the same time, the fact that Giants are having this success this quickly, it makes me very scared for what they can do in a month or 2 months, especially because I'm hearing a lot of good things about the atmosphere and the team being very positive, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah, I will say, I'm going to be intrigued to see how long they can keep that up, because I think when everything's working, when everything's going well, it's very easy to be positive. Yep. So, well, we'll see if that changes, but not saying it will. Nonetheless, they forced initially Yumpy off the angle, but now he gets a second opportunity from the back of the site, taking a hell of a lot of damage. He's going to deny the ultimate TP. It lets them know where he is, and for a second, I thought he was going to hit a double there. Instead, though, isolated, forced off the back of the site, and the rotations coming through from heaven have been dealt with almost easily from the sides of Giant. And I don't know, are they actually going to go for something here? I guess Solcas. Wow.
I mean, you'd still want to save, right? At least Cryptix is going towards the B site. Maybe Solcas wants to play an exit. I don't know if he even jumps into the spike, though. Oh, he has light shields. That kind of changes it a little bit. It depends. If he's comfortable playing with the judge in the next round, it might be worthwhile. I can't see his credits, so if he can drop someone over as well, it'll make a difference. Oh, there's a rifle on the floor. Well, that's free. Get out of there now. Yeah, time to save.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Worth it in the end, and well, for the remaining players of Giants, they're not really going to be hunting down too much. So obviously the last round only being won with one player alive. This is where they start actually building up a few credits in the bank as well. So after what was a couple of aggressive early rounds where it seemed like Giants were struggling a little bit, they've started going in for those A takes, and that's the thing. They've been able to garner quite a lot of space just by using a few abilities early on. Like we see the Blade Storm picked up fairly early in the last round, using the Paranoia to try and clear some of the back angles. I will say previously, when it comes to the defensive side, their Paranoia usage might be the best Paranoia usage I've ever seen. Like the amount of retakes they managed to pull off versus Fnatic, just using that one ability to leave everybody screwed on the A site, was pretty impressive. Now, Liquid don't want to let this one get out of control. I think they're also in a fairly interesting spot financially with whether or not they go for anything here. Now, something Scream used to do when it came to his Reyna play was go for a hero Guardian. And the reason for that is obviously with his ability to heal, he doesn't actually need to buy any shields behind it. So he can just basically go for those taps. If he hits the shot, he gives himself an opportunity to get up to max health. And if not, well, he's going to die anyway. And with the gun actually being cheaper than it was previously, I wouldn't be surprised if he went for something. I saw it pop up for a second. I was like, go on, do it. But I think he's definitely deciding to maybe save a few extra credits here and there.
And that timeout called in, Tom, it's interesting to see so early on. We've had a bunch of timeouts being called. You can see they're definitely working on changing up their setup. Team Liquid having 4 players towards the B site this time, and Yampy is spotted immediately with the Blade Storm activated. And I think because of that, they feel the need to shift that defense a little bit more towards the A side. And if Link falls here, A is completely open. Of course, no way the Vodafone Giants would know that.
Here.
But him holding down on short passively is pretty pivotal to this strategy. We're going to get a drone out on short. Very expensive piece of utility for a round like this where so many players have nothing to work with. The Sheriff on Link, of course, that's why he's in the close corner. As we come into the final minute, Vodafone Giants seem to have made the right call here in moving towards the A site. But they currently only have 2 players, but a third quickly on the way.
Solcas already being taken out. Scream again. Yeah, I think he's realized, well, this peek's not going to work anymore. The neural theft giving away every single one of the positions. More importantly, David P still got this spot in mid. Now, this is something that we saw from him a lot. In fact, it's a spot that most teams have started to clear, but Yumpy definitely not prepared for that spot. And, wow, that was a lot of damage coming off the back of the Sheriff, but it's not going to be a kill.
Losing Solcas so early was a shame as well, because he was one of the only 2 players that had a rifle to play with in this round. And now as we move deeper into it, you can see nobody on Vodafone Giants taken down. A lurk play from David P with his 4 HP in towards middle, which could actually get kind of scary. I mean, the final player has got a rifle, more so when Link was alive as well. Oh, Cryptix.
Oh, he's peeked into the whole team. Cryptix going to go down. Now, he will be able to invest into the next round anyway, I assume. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. But it's one of those spots where, obviously, you want to try and keep anything you can up, give the opportunity to buy a gun over. But yeah, after a bit of a slowish start, especially losing that second round force, Giants have bounced back pretty well. Their A-site executions, again, looking incredibly strong. Very good at taking those sort of slow rounds to find opportunities and almost wait to see if they can get David P in a good position to have those late flanks. And for now, at least, we're watching on Liquid to see how they're going to respond.
Plenty of ultis to play with. Hunter's Fury and Lockdown in effect right now. Oh, that push down on mid does not work well for Yampy. He is out of the game. Link caught in the open, but still gets away with 2. The Paranoia not able to be deployed, and the res will put the numbers back in Vodafone Giants' favor. But in comes the Hunter's Fury to try and counter it, but it's thrown in for nothing. The timing not quite landing, and so Vodafone Giants not only get a res up, Tom, and a man advantage, but they also get rid of a very valuable ultimate from Solkas.
Yeah, they've also picked up the operator for themselves. Ambi going to be picking up and playing with that for the moment. And again, they've just fallen back into the same default. So all the aggression, all the punish that came through with the double kill out from Link has become somewhat irrelevant with that res in play. Now, David P maybe expecting some sort of risky play now to try and come out from Liquid. Being a man down, they've got an aggressive position on B, so they can start to gamble a little bit towards that A site, but they're going to be incredibly reliant on Cryptics here.
left.
Now, he does have his lockdown, but putting it in a place where they won't destroy it, it's going to be really tough.
Well, Cryptics is down immediately. There will be no lockdown used up in this round. Vodafone Giants overrunning the A site and getting their plant in with limited time. I think Liquid are probably looking to just save this one over towards the B site. You already see them shifting away. It's been a pretty poor start. I mean, let's remember that Team Liquid won this off of a weak buy in a second round. They lost the pistol, they won the second follow-up, and then Vodafone Giants have been looking nigh on unstoppable ever since. In fact, it's almost like a complete role reversal from what we saw in Icebox, Tom, where they just seem to keep pushing into that A site and finding all the space that they want with a slow mid default.
Yeah, I think thus far they've realized, especially on the defensive side, having that double duelist means that Liquid need to be taking space. They need to be pushing a little bit more aggressively, because when it comes down to a site take, you're not going to have any utility to stop them. You're mainly looking at Cryptics, which in the majority of rounds is going to be playing the B site because it just makes a lot more sense for the positioning of the utility, and being the smaller of the two in terms of the entry position, it's just the more common. So other than that, you're mainly looking at information being found by Sova, and then you've got the Omen that can basically do stuff with the Paranoia to at least stop them, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of stopping power in general. So that means in most rounds, there's going to be someone on the Liquid side looking to get aggressive, and you could see how ready they were to try and deny Yumpy that space. And it'll be the same for Scream. This time, they're actually going to double up into the B site together and try and again fight for a bit of control.
Now, Yumpy's early aggression on A, whether it's short or long, like we saw with the Sheriff in the second round, this is something that Vodafone Giants are countering well by making sure they always have that buddy system. There's pretty, like, even look at this mid peak here. You have Omen and Sage right beside each other. So whether it's Hoodie or David P that gets potentially picked off by the Jet, you have that opportunity to catch the Jet before she actually dashes away, which is absolutely huge. But for this round, Liquid have put Yampy towards the B site with Scream, where they find no control in the early stages. They were hoping that Vodafone Giants would push into them. But again, Tom, it's that slow mid default into an A hit. Vodafone Giants are finding success with this every single time, so there's no reason to change it.
Yeah, I like it. Both teams have shown that. They've shown a rinse and repeat. Like, okay, why would we change our strategy if you haven't been able to stop it for almost the entirety of this half? And yeah, especially in this run where it's a bit of a weaker purchase, they're just going to easily walk in once again. Now, Soulcast one of the rifles. There's that same slow orb to try and catch him if he tries to take a risky peek. Even the wall going to be going up. And now they even have the information that there is an extra player up there.
Yep, this is perfect for Vodafone Giants. It looks like possibly another flawless round. As Solkas and Scream have those two rifles, they probably want to save them, especially with Scream being tagged up that little bit more. And Yampy will try to play a bit of an exit. He has an opportunity here. The shot is not going to land, and now they know exactly where he is, but David P still falls. The rifle will be retrieved, and a little bit of disrespect along the way. Looks like they'll get away with all three of these, unless they play a bit aggressive, as I see Yampy is thinking about. 65 HP, Tom. and he's running it down. Not even playing the head peek angle. In fact, he's going all the way in for that. That is ambitious.
Yeah, potentially, like, at this stage, they know that they can buy next round anyway, and he might just be looking to bring in the operator. But, yeah, not going to find anything in this case. I think the reason that we're seeing those sort of BM shots is because it's David P in those spots every single time. Like, we even saw tweeting after the last map, it was Soulcast saying, like, it's my duty to almost hunt this man down, and on this map, it's been a little bit more difficult, so yeah, almost just have that little punish peak for once, but I don't think David P's going to care. They're winning the majority of the rounds. And there you go. So Yumpy's operator is going to be in hand once again. The question is, can he find some impact with it? Because they are prepared for his peaks.
You know, if you can make Yumpy think about what he's doing a little bit more, to really make him question himself, well, then you're already succeeding. It's going to be one of the more difficult things to do. Get this guy out of his comfort zone. And he's still going for the A long peaks. But Vodafone Giants have shifted focus, and they're looking to push into B. Now, they spotted when Liquid were on the Eco, the Cryptics was playing the A site. And maybe they thought that Killjoy had rotated over so that they'll feel a little more comfortable pushing the site. But they've now spotted that turret. They know that Killjoy is here, and they're walking out onto the site. The alarm bot down inside of the alleyway as a nano swarm right behind it, but Cryptics is going to need to use that now and block them from pushing him down. The ulti for the rotate to come in. Now he's at least got some help with Link on the backside with him, but Link falls quickly, as does Cryptics, and Vodafone Giants are just looking unstoppable on this push through. They don't seem to have a single problem, not breaking a sweat as they take these sites. And again, a 5v2 for Team Liquid, as they probably have to save these weapons once more, especially with an operator.
Yeah, they're just getting rolled. It is looking very much like the previous map. Like, the fact is, this was just a very slow walk into the B site, not holding into mid control so much anymore. But the fact is that there's been a lot less of a battle for it because Giants have won every single time somebody has tried to challenge them in middle. So it's almost put Team Liquid back into spot, and they use that to almost go, okay, well, if we now know that you're not going to be fighting for that, you're going to have a lot less information, so we'll just do something completely different. And I think the main almost indicator of that, Soulcast had no idea they were that deep in B. There is absolutely no way that when he's peeking from spawn, he expected anybody to be right up in his face. So they are now just catching Liquid off guard with just variations to their strategy, finally going into the B site. And yeah, like, Liquid are looking pretty rough. And especially, like, it was mentioned on the desk that in recent times, like, this has not been a good map for Liquid, which in my head, I was just like, oh, no, yeah, you're right, but it feels weird because this was their map. This was the map that if we ever saw Liquid play, and I mean against anyone, we were going, ah, they've got it in the bag. This is the insta win. I think they smashed Fnatic on it like multiple times in a row. Like, this was such a good map for them, and it just seems to have fallen off so far.
Fatino's really up in the pace on this. And then push into the B site. They've already got the opening kill, Tom. It feels like the round hasn't even started. Solkas, luckily, able to spam one down through the smoke. The shock darts not quite finding their targets as Vodafone Giants breach the site. The plant will be found. Oh, but he goes down as well. He was kind of close to res. If he got the plant, and he's only 2 away. But with him down and out, this is going to be much more of a raw round for Vodafone Giants. Definitely the biggest challenge that they faced so far. They get the site, they lose players on the way. David P lurking in towards main is smoked off, and with an operator going through that isn't exactly an option. Oh, as he smokes off Market, Fatino catches one, and now the push out is going to be so difficult for Team Liquid. They need this flank to work out from Link, but he's already been spotted. Now he's being held down. The frenzy out for David P, not even using that operator on the behind peak, and Scream's got it all to do, and David will quickly take him down. 8-2 on the board, Tom. And you're right, this map has definitely fallen off for Liquid.
Yeah, GG go next. Like, this is so rough. Like, especially considering that the 2 rounds they got were the force buy in the second and then the follow-up. That's been it. Other than that, it's just been a streak of rounds coming out from Giants. What is that, 7 in a row now? Like, and this was easily the best opportunity for Liquid. Like, Fatino gets 2 kills there while on 60 HP and wide swinging. Like he just swings out to fight them. Like, and the thing is, if he doesn't, David P is almost definitely dead because he would have been completely surrounded by 2 different players with an operator. So I don't know how they come back from that and make it look so easy. And again, every single piece of aggression that Liquid is going for is being punished within seconds. In a round like this, it's not really the biggest of deals because of what's invested. Nice shot at least from Liquid. No way he deserved to get 2 there. That's unreal. And Scream actually ducks back in and manages to dismiss out of there. Somehow, again, this is looking like one of the more viable rounds.
Fatino, interestingly, is backing off with that spike. And the swap over to a rifle for Hoodie. Looks like we'll see a bit of a heavier rotate out of them. If he can find just 1 kill now, the ulti will be online. He can res up and even the numbers. And again, there's only that 1 rifle for Team Liquid on Scream. Other than that, they're playing with pistols. So the advantage still sits relatively comfortably towards Vodafone Giants, and they're going to go for the plant to get Hoodie's res online. This should be easily obtained. And the question is, where does he res? Possibly the corner close to the door. Lockdown comes into effect. This is where the res is going to be popped up, but they're already swinging him wide, and the kill is found. Hoodie is down, leaving it all onto Fatino. He's got to make a move quickly, about to be locked out. As he moves to the back, this is where they start the defuse, forcing him forward. He's got to take the peek immediately. It's halfway already. Nice shot, and he's quickly out of there. The dash not online, but he doesn't need it. Fatino putting 9 on the board for Vodafone Giants, and the domination continues.
I don't know how both of those hit. Like, that was so clean that I'm almost just gobsmacked at how he managed to make that look so easy. That was unbelievable from Fatino, and, well, we've seen so much of what this man has got in his locker, but, yeah, just easy. Just easy. And, again, it's a round that looked incredibly good for Liquid, and they've just let it slip away. And Fatino playing, well, perfectly in that after-plant scenario, but, oh, now Liquid 9 and 2 down. It is their opponent's map choice, but as said, like, this was always their home turf. This was always a map that they looked incredible, and I think they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board when it comes to testing new compositions.
I really... Oh, well, I can't make that point now because Link's about to take a fight. He's swinging aggressively, about to go into the Hunter's Fury and get tagged up. That's such an unfortunate shadow step. Putting it into a 4v4 and up above. David P's TP'd into their spawn and taken out. Yampy, good shot by Scream, but he won't survive much longer. Liquid with a huge disadvantage, and it is just crumbling. 1 versus 3 to finish it off. Cryptix has got a bunch to do, and this has been a chaotic round from Vodafone Giants, but you could see it was planned chaos. They wanted to really confuse Liquid and make it difficult for them to do anything. This is it. Yeah, you're done, Cryptix. I find it interesting that unless my memory fails me, Tom, I don't think we saw Yampy play mid once with that operator. Like, he loves playing the wings, so like B main or A long, but
he played short once and got domed.
He did. He got wrecked. But actually playing in mid, like around Pizza, pushing through their smoke with the dash available, that's something that I've seen from him many times before.
Yeah, for sure.
It's strange they didn't do it at all here.
Yeah, it seems like they almost opted to give it up in a lot of rounds. And, yeah, it's curious, because I can't say that he really... it was something I wanted to see, as said, going into this map, like him performing with that operator, but it seemed like Giants were so ready for it, even though it's not something that he's been playing, especially with the Jet, for a while now. They were so prepared, and I think that's one of the things that have been so enjoyable. As said, like, Giants have not had a massive amount of time to prepare, at least with these players, but they just seem to be so ready for anything their opponents are gonna do. David P! Oh, he went out for a cheeky peek. Actually still manages to get a decent trade-off there. And wow, okay, this pistol is looking very, very good for Liquid.
Yeah, fantastic start. Does almost feel like a consolation prize winning out this one. Now they're so far behind, it has to be an incredible half for them to really get back in here. And they have to also not lose this to a clutch from Ambi. He's already got 3, Tom. 47 HP, though. And the flank gets him in the end. Whew. I came a little bit closer than I would like, though.
Yeah, for sure. And Ambi's going to get himself halfway up to his Hunter's Fury, which we've already seen can definitely do a fair amount of damage for the Giants here. Now, this basically means that for Liquid, they have had 2 good starts to each half. So, like, normally, okay, sure, they didn't technically win the pistol, but they did win a second round forced by or like half investment that they probably shouldn't have been able to win. So at this point, them only having 3 rounds is despicable. Like, it's probably one of the most depressing things I've seen in a while. So yeah, we'll see if they can start something here. Maybe get the engines rolling a little bit. Sorry, I've been casting with Zesh and it's in my head.
Get those off-road tires swapped out for some
getting the
smooth
slipstream and get quicker.
Well, they've got the slipstream towards the A site. Looks like they've upgraded their Honda to a BMW engine. I don't know if that's an upgrade, but I'm just guessing here. Scream! In trouble, but the dismiss saves his life. He's out of there with the flank still alive, but the pistols up close can do a bunch of damage. Link using still the ugliest crosshair we've ever seen, but this time it comes in red. Puts it into a 2v2. Shock dart through. Not going to get that much damage in. This one's going to be a little bit more direct. And still nothing found. But Team Liquid, only 2 players alive. It's getting scary. Yeah, this Sheriff can definitely do damage here on Ambi. We saw him in the pistol, but he's taken out immediately here with David P all alone. I don't even know if he doesn't want to save this Spectre. You get a full buy in the next round, so it's just about griefing them and dying in the end. At least that's the hope.
Oh, no far away, but it's not going to be the 2v4 victory, but definitely way too close for comfort. Like, Liquid wanted to try and use that to almost build into the half, but instead, given some extra ult orbs over, they're also sat now with only a couple of Spectres actually saved through from that. So the question is, Mitch, do they go back in with some weaker weapons and play this as a bonus? Or does this now just become a full investment? I almost feel with the scoreline it has to be the latter, because you can't afford risking giving this one up.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, man. Like, it's a really tough situation, but putting all your credits on the line is probably the way to go. And they've done it. Team Liquid investing fully. Scream falls right away. That's not the start that they wanted. Ambi's been having a great map so far. Last couple of rounds, he has been on fire, activated, and ready to go. As we hit 1 minute 20 on the clock, Team Liquid are playing a similar round to what Vodafone Giants were doing. A little bit different because they don't play from spawn into mid. They play instead from B-Con. But they're playing that mid default. They're looking for the control there. Only they seem to be a little bit more favored towards that B site, trying to take over control of Pizza.
Oh, there's information there from Fatinho. I wonder if they'll just fight into him here. I don't know if he actually spotted the head. I think he did, but he takes the peek and will lose it. Still going to be 2 players within this B site, although it's definitely not the most comfortable of holds. The dash through, maybe a little bit wary of players still being in main, and the tag up, but it's going to be Ambi to connect the instant shot. This gives some time for the rotation to come in, and if you look at David, he's now coming in from behind, but it might not even matter. Ambi's just hitting every single head that's put into his path. He has support from his teammate, but both fall within a matter of seconds, leaving this in to a 2 versus 2.
Spike planted.
Not a bunch to play with for Team Liquid. The nano swarms activated immediately. Link inside of his own smoke. Oh, the shots at random through take him down. That is a big shame. I mean, who plays inside that kind of low smoke? You never really see it. The steps are heard. Cryptix knows they're coming from the alleyway, and he's even isolated the first duel. Hasn't got any nano swarms on the spike, though. And it's being diffused already halfway. It's time to move. Cryptix goes around wide, sees he's not on it. There's the turret giving the information, and he's going to just try and play ring-a-ring-a-rosy. Run the clock down. His turret's giving him all the info he needs to evade him and eventually finish Meadow off. That is 5 for Team Liquid. It is still looking pretty grim, but it's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, no, well played from Cryptix, though. Managing to not only isolate the duel initially, but then just play down the clock enough that he can take the full fight at the end. Perfectly playing off his turret. I still want to give credit there to Ambi, just on the site itself, finding 3 kills as they try an entry in. Unfortunately, it just came down to the last couple that he wasn't able to land the shots. He's been someone who's impressed me for multiple reasons, though, and the main one is the fact that he wasn't really a Sova player coming into this roster. Now, I know we saw in the interview, I think it was Hoodie was saying, I think anyone could play any agent, but coming in on incredibly short notice, having to adapt very quickly to picking up a new role, especially moving away from what I believe was like a jet main duelist player, and coming in now as more of a, not support, but a more supportive one than he would have had to been, not being the out-and-out star. This, though, from Link could be fairly big. They've got a lot of control pushing through. Maybe trying to spot if anybody got aggressive. Didn't see anything just yet. And well, what is a minute investment here? Just making sure that nobody can catch them from behind. Still playing that lurk, of course, even when he switched up his agent.
The lockdown active will push them back, but well, Vodafone Giants are already far back. They're ready for this possibility. Retaking into the site with pistols, though, Tom, won't be ideal. They'll have to try and capitalize on some close-range duels. And even though Scream is offering one, he has two teammates ready to fight with him. Link down below. And of course, Yampy on this corner. First kill comes in their way. Scream now spotted in the corner. No doubt they'll try to isolate him and deal with him, but this is where his teammates come in. Yampy taking David P as he tries, and it's about as clean as you'd like. Gorgeous round from Team Liquid to put 6 on the board, but here's where they run into a blockade yet again. Vodafone Giants are going to fully invest up into this one. The good thing is, with that being a flawless round, Tom, at least Team Liquid have built themselves up some reserve of credits.
Yeah, of course, they're still in a spot where, like, they don't have many rounds to play with if they were to lose one or to adapt. I will say, though, that this composition, although I was expecting a little bit more from the defensive side of Yumpy, it's still going to give them much more opportunities to, not only for him to take space, but then to also set up Scream to find those initial kills. Now, this is where things change quite significantly for Fatidia. They put out the turret, which I imagine is not going to last too long, but they're still just trying to make sure that they're not facing into that operator. David P, I was going to say gets caught pushing up mid, but instead it's actually his teammate to save him. It's Ambi again.
Tino's caught them, trying to move through into heaven. But the deep control lost. They can still get a plant. It won't be the end of the world. But for Team Liquid, you have to look at it, at what they're up against. A Hunter's Fury online for Ambi now. He still has his drone. So if they need that, I mean, the Hunter's Fury is probably not even needed here. It's just going to be the drone to go through and clear the angle. Surely no. In fact, they're going in dry, and Yampy's able to catch the first to dash away. And it doesn't save his life, but it does buy time. Team Liquid are running the clock down as best as they can. Hunter's Fury is going to be activated, and it finds very little to nothing. Solkus even goes through the smoke to take Hoodie down. This is starting to fall apart. Vodafone Giants had the advantage, but now the time is really running out, and so are their numbers. It's all on to Ambi in a 1v2. Oh, this has become a devastating round so quickly. It's gone, and it swings into favor for Team Liquid. How have they lost that one, Tom?
I will say it was well played by the remaining players of Liquid, but that's probably the worst retake I've seen from Giants. Like, normally I talk about like the synergy based off the flashes that they put through, the paranoia that's been so well utilized in spots before. This was disjointed as hell. Like, one player pushing in initially, I think that was Meadow on the Sage, just gets picked off. Then you had another player push through Heaven. Then the other player went. It was just like, you knew the crossfire. You knew where it was. Like, realistically, they should have been able to isolate someone there. And the utility they still had, like, they still had the Sage wall, and they still had, what, the drone? And it seemed like they didn't use any of it. They just tried to almost run straight through. Even using a Hunter's Fury, which cleared out nothing as well.
Especially when he had the drone online. I just find it so bizarre that they clear out so much of the map without using it, and then even pop the Hunter's Fury without attempting to tag someone first. It's a very strange round, and one that definitely hasn't yielded the results the Vodafone Giants were looking for. Now they're left on the pistols yet again in a pretty tough situation. The Bladestorm tries to bridge the gap, but Link, of course, is behind them yet again. They're wondering just how. David P tucked in the corner, hasn't been spotted, but I think his barrel just stuck around so Scream could take him down. And this is, well, it's not looking that clean, is it? Nice shot by Meadow, but it'll only be the one. And so Hoodie has to clutch it, but hey, no better man on this roster. He's had a phenomenal first half. Managed to evade that blind as well. Oh no! They have no idea where he is, and Hoodie gets it! Both kills going his way! 11 on the board for Vodafone Giants, and it's the eco that does it! Absolutely unbelievable scenes here as Team Liquid. They win out all the hard rounds, Tom, and then they lose the easy one.
How? How? Maybe they thought that if they leered up, he would just shoot it if he was there, but yeah, the positioning couldn't have worked out any better for Hoodie. Both players being directly below him, they were trying to figure out where the last man was coming from, and well, it's the perfect timing to catch them off guard. They've even taken a pause off of that, because I think they realized, like, firstly, we need to calm ourselves down, because I imagine there was a lot of screaming in the Giants camp winning that. But also, that's like a combo breaker. I feel like you want to let your opponent just sit in that for a little bit. Like, even if you're not going to say much here, I'm sure Pipson's still giving them a great team talk. But you almost just want to allow Liquid to go, yeah, we're just going to take a moment here so you can sit and think about what just happened. Because that is not a round they should ever be losing.
Absolutely not. No, especially in that 2v1. I feel like Scream, when he blinded, I think he jumped up to clear it. But was looking a little bit too deep because, well, but he'd already walked all the way up into the corner, and that wasn't exactly expected. That's one of those rounds that's going to haunt them for quite a while. You know, they're mounting such a good comeback. Even I was starting to believe at what should have been 10-8. Facing into one buy round to equalize things, but now things are far from even. The sands shifting under their feet, and Team Liquid, they're behind, but they're looking for a 5-man push right into Fatino. This could be dangerous. The shoulder peek doesn't get a shot out of him because he's way too deep. Like, he's up against the wall. No one ever plays from there. It's completely unexpected. And as the wall goes up now, Vodafone Giants are trying to lock them out, but Yampy has other ideas, going right into the site, but he doesn't even get a kill. Only damage onto David P. Giants are rolling over them. Even a Sheriff from Hoodie coming out, leaving Link alone in a 1v5. A near flawless round from Vodafone Giants. In fact, flawless so far. They're looking at potentially map point here. And there it is, 12-7.
They're going to get it. I do really, like, you look at the peak that Fatino's taken there. Firstly, you can, well, maybe you could do it on a Reyna, but realistically, you can only really make that peak on a Jet, like, to be able to dash out there in the first place. But of course, anybody shoulder peeking that is not going to check that corner. That would just be an unreal thing to just think of, that he's going to be all the way over on the other side. They probably will from now on, to be fair to them, but you have to swing wide enough that if he was then on the further angle, you'd be in even more trouble. So that works out brilliantly. Hoodie, maybe the man should just play eco rounds all the time, because I feel like he just gets kills with pistols and snipers no matter what goes on. So I'm starting to question if that should be the case. But yeah, back-to-back rounds now. As you said, it was looking like there was some sort of comeback being built, the mountain being climbed. And again, okay, this time they're going to use the drone to clear it. And, well, he has to just dash out there. So much better from Liquid, making sure that he's not going to get away with anything. Second time the wall's been in quite an irritating spot for at least one member, but they're putting everything into this. And they're actually going to get an opener off the back of the Hunter's Fury and leave Fatino all on his own at the back of the site.
Oh, that's not great. He's even being caught up in the ulti. Night. Scream takes him down. Oh, headshot as well. Even headshots with knives, of course. This is the round, isn't it? Meadow left alone, 1v5. Gets a taste of what it's like to be David P. Oh, he won't be saving.
I have to say, I love the... I've never... Because obviously you don't get many knife kills in VALORANT. I know you get knifed in, like, when you play games. I think I saw a clip of that. But,
yeah.
But anyway, like, I love the way that he got that knife kill with the fan. Was almost like, you know when the like challenging someone to a duel, like with a white glove. Yeah, it's like, psh, get out of my face. I challenge you to a duel. Oh,
I'm not sure it has to be a white glove as well. I think any glove works.
I don't know. In my head, it's a white glove.
But who's challenging you to a duel? An umpire at a snooker match?
No, there's a butler.
A butler? Like, I need to pay him more, Tom. They're challenging to duels. The hell? Well, Yampy's playing quite aggressive on that. Well, it's not going to pay off.
Spike planted.
Numbers equalized. Vodafone Giants have a res to make that even better. David P back online. And of course, he's got the wonderful ultimate online, Tom.
Yes.
It could actually be quite impactful.
He might be able to go on the flank. That's something that we see quite often. But I think he had his paranoia in play, so it gives them an opportunity to try and flash through. Luckily, though, Scream is on the other side. Trades back and forth as Vitinho manages just one kill, and Ambi's just going to go peeking in, but Link is just landing every shot handed to him. It's left all onto Vitinho, and this time there's nothing to be had. Liquid might have had a couple of blips on the radar on their attacking side, but they're very much still in this map, just 3 rounds behind.
It is starting to look more and more doable, isn't it? And with Vodafone Giants investing a lot into that previous round, Team Liquid are definitely going to be feeling vitalized. That Rez in particular being out. But with how well Hoodie's been playing, I don't think it's going to be long till it's back online. Possibly he'll get it up by the end of the half. But as we have 3 between them, look at the money for Vodafone Giants. The credits, the creds, they're not sitting pretty.
I think that's about to change.
Yes.
Because it's going to be challenged by Vitinho, which makes a lot of sense as Nico around, get him that Blade Storm, give him a chance to roll through. Now, the turret on the other side normally wouldn't be a problem, but he only has 100 HP, and unless he gets out of there very quickly, he could legitimately just die to the turret or to the man waiting on the other side. So, in this case, not worth the risk. But yeah, there really isn't much online in this round. And actually, for Giants, they're very far away from most of their ultimates and will be, especially after this round. So they're going to want to try and at least make this one a little bit costly. Ambi is going to get spotted. Still has some utility to play with, so not just going to dive in and... Well, he's going to know that the drone is coming, but I think he almost wants to sell this as a bit of a ruse. Not going to work out, though, as Cryptix already finds that pick, and, well, that's basically the deadliest weapon out of this round already.
Yep, the one thing that was truly scary is now gone, and Vodafone Giants have to fight back with pistols. Now, a Hoodie on a Sheriff is always going to be scary, but he gets blinded up before he can really get the jump on Link. Dealt with, and now it's done and dusted. 12-10. Team Liquid, they win at that one as convincingly as they needed to, really, with 4 players still alive, and now Vodafone Giants get their full buy up. This is going to be a full investment. And then the final round, if they lose this, it actually ends up kind of equalized. Like, Vodafone Giants will have a pretty poor economy. They'll probably have to play with your Judges and your Ares, those kind of scrappy weapons. And that'd be perfect for Team Liquid to take it across the line. Scream's got an Odin. Now, I don't know if this man's really after my heart, but...
Does he know who he is?
Like, he's playing with it.
He's picked the gun that doesn't one-tap.
Oh, well, he's shooting people through the wall, so I guess that's fair. He's just stripped Hoodie of his armor straight away.
Did he buy it just for a matter of seconds? Just for that? Just for nothing else? Just for that? I guess they have the extra finances to do it, but that was minimal. Unless I missed it and he did sell it and just did that with a rifle.
Yappy's avoided this drone completely. They're not going to push up on it, though. Of course, they've walled pretty deep. I think this might cause a rotate, though. And you see Team Liquid instantly start to shift towards this side of the map. That spike being picked up. Reyna and Cryptix on their way. Ooh, no, they're on their way to A, actually. They're full rotating and allowing Yappy to sell a little bit of a fake. And it's really selling it because of this aggressive push. David P goes down, and the whole rest of the team had shifted towards the B site. It's only Meadow remaining on A. He has a cam up, but, I mean, it's not going to be much use all by himself unless he at least gets smoked out and then can really use that ping. Team Liquid have so many options, so many doors open to them now. They know that it's a very shallow play on the B side. So going into A is kind of risky, but they're going to TP right to the back side, and Link gets taken down. Meadow's able to peek in for free. No one's watching it. That's a disaster. Liquid now losing another player, but they know there's one down below. They know that they can get Meadow, but they can't. They're running into him, and he's winning the duels. There's only 10 seconds left. The spike has to be retrieved and planted, and that means Meadow has to die, but he's still alive, and he single-handedly won the round for Vodafone Giants. That is 13-10. An incredible solo A play from Meadow, his teammates barely needing to get involved as Vodafone Giants take what was looking like a very convincing map in a tight enough game.